early, you're pretty tough.
Central Florida has two players 6'9" along the front line, so the Wildcats will be a little undersized there, but nothing new for Kentucky, Doug. They've kind of had to play scrappy basketball all year long.
Well, Dick, somebody asked how to describe it, and that's the way I would describe it. They're diving on the floor, loose balls. They are, getting the charges. They're putting a lot of pressure. There's loose ball there. It's almost piling on. But that's the way, in my view, this team has to play. They're not overpowerful. They have to be scrappy because every possession. Pretty good block here by Joe.
That was in the late stages of the Iona game, actually in Louisville about 10 days ago. And, of course, they followed up with a similarly scrappy effort against Ohio. Here's a key play by Robbie Moss, chasing down a loose ball, something simple like chasing down a loose ball during the game.
It was a big possession because that was one possession where we were able to come back and get ahead in that ball game. So those are just type of plays we just have to do as a team.
Well, one of the guys who came through for the Wildcats in Cincinnati against Ohio was Joe Crawford, who just this week was named the SEC Player of the Week.
Yeah, we really don't have a team that's going to just run away from people and the big knockout punch.
After the victory over the Bobcats, Tubby admitted that the Wildcats, at least for now, have not yet figured out how to finish off an opponent.
There's not much real fluid and flow to our offense. So once we get to that, where we can push it up the court in transition and score in flurries, that's something we haven't been able to do. Just put a bunch of points together in a consistent effort.
The Cats say they know they want to do that, and they think they know how.
We definitely can develop. It's all about having that swagger and that confidence that we need, throughout the whole game. Saying, these teams aren't going to score on us. We can score on this team anytime we want to.
That's what our team needs. That's what our team is capable of doing, and this is our strength. Our strength is running up and down the court, playing. We can play hard defense. We show it, and what we need to start doing is just running with the ball down the court and score every time, and limited our turnovers and easy mistakes.
Well, I got ahead of myself. We'll talk about Joe Crawford a little later, but Tubby said not yet a knockout punch for this team. Do you think we might see that tonight?
Well, Dick, hopefully I'd be hopefully we can get ahead and do that. But that's not unusual for an inexperienced team. It takes some experience to keep extending that game and putting the pressure on and putting the game away. So when you have an inexperienced team, it just takes a while to learn that.
Central Florida has played in the NCAA tournament within the last couple of years. The Golden Knights a little bit down this year, 6-5, and as Doug said, Florida had its way with Central Florida earlier this year, and you can see this is a team that plays in Conference USA, which is a little bit down this year. Coming up, dates against Marshall and against Houston a little bit later on. So it's a Central Florida team that will come in here with nothing to lose, but you have to wonder, a quick Kentucky run might get this team really back on its heels.
Well, I think one of the keys tonight, Dick, is for us to come out ready to play and put them on their heels early, and then that way we can get that experience without putting somebody away.
We'll come back and tell you more about the Golden Knights and the Wildcats right after this. Stay tuned to Wildcat Warm-Up here on the Big Blue Sports Network. Don't forget, coming up January 21st, after the Kentucky-South Carolina game in the Hyatt Regency, it's the Blast. Proceeds go to a great cause. Your chance to rub elbows with Tubby Smith. Donna Smith will be there, along with hundreds and hundreds of your fellow UK fans. The Blast coming up January 21st at the Hyatt Regency. There you can see where you can get tickets at the UK Basketball Museum or at Central Bank locations. Check it out. That comes up January 21st. Welcome back to Rupp Arena, where the Kentucky Wildcats have taken the floor for warm-ups, as well as the Central Florida Knights. And one of the Wildcats who will be trying to follow up what he did last Friday with another strong effort tonight is Joe Crawford, a guy you touted before the Louisville game.
Well, Joe's maybe looked like a prophet, Dick, in that I just knew it's just about time. That injury earlier in the season really made a difference for him because he missed 3 games, missed almost 2 weeks of practice. But you just knew he had so much talent, it's just a matter of time before he's going to come out. And he looks like he's really playing with a lot of confidence now.
He has recovered from the knee bruise, from the hip pointer, recovered well enough to win SEC Player of the Week honors this week. And just yesterday we had a chance to talk to Joe and Tubby Smith about his big effort. Crawford picked up the honor, the first in his still developing UK career, for scoring a career-high 23 points on 8 of 15 shooting in the win over Ohio U.
You know, I'm excited. You know, it's another accomplishment. But, you know, I can't get too high on that. Because I just want to, you know, keep winning. You know, I don't want to keep, you know, focused on that.
Joe's play has been very critical to I think, us improving offensively and defensively, because he's playing both ends of the court extremely well. We got good play out of Bobby Perry, so I think the guys are feeling pretty good about themselves.
You know, I feel like I'm getting better every game, more comfortable, you know, just, you know, being aggressive, you know, taking my opportunities.
Crawford rescued the Wildcats. Rajon Rondo and Patrick Sparks, UK's top 2 scorers, were struggling. He realized he needed to put the Wildcats on his broad shoulders.
You know, I knew it was coming. You know, I was just getting more and more comfortable each game. You know, after the Louisville game, you know, I played even better the next game. You know, I just knew, you know, I'm going to just keep getting better.
Well, he's understanding the offense. It's another year in the system. He's playing with a lot more, you know, patience. He always had good patience. And he's a very focused player.
And, of course, when it's happening outside, things are going to happen inside. And one of the guys you talked about the Wildcats really needing has been Rickalen Sims. The last couple of games, he's come alive as well.
Well, Dick, I think he's just starting to feel comfortable in the system. I think he's realizing that he just got to play. And, you know, Rickalen's got good hands. He's going to the board each time. You know, you notice he got several tip-ins. Look how strong he goes up for the basket. I just think he's starting to get comfortable within the system. And like I say, most junior college players, this is the time of year that starts happening.
Took a big charge right here, not afraid to get physical, even though he's not that thick.
No, he really isn't. But, you know, he's leading the team in charges, and he just does a good job of anticipating back here. I think we had 4 charges in the Ohio game, charges are really big. It really changes the momentum of a game.
He also had a clutch free throw there in a moment when he talked about how he just dreaded going to the free throw line, but Sims getting it done, as you said, off the board, gets the loose ball there, another hustle play. They need that from him.
Well, they do. But, you know, Dick, anybody can switch it. But, you know, he put it up on the rim and had to drop in. So it was a big free throw for us.
Huge performance defensively for Rajon Rondo. The guys who were calling the game for the network, not ours, were going on about the fact that he hadn't scored much in the second half, but he totally locked down Michael Green. Take a look at the way Rajon Rondo really played denial defense in the second half of the Ohio game, as Rondo just prevented him from getting the ball. Look in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and you'll see the way he keeps the ball away from him.
Well, Dick, the big key is here. You know, Michael Perry had 16 points first half, and he held him scoreless the second half. You know, it's just a great effort. And what we were talking about before the game, one thing really crucial is how Rondo is matured. You know, while he wasn't shooting the ball, having trouble getting the shots, he went ahead and didn't let it affect the rest of his game, and that really shows a lot of maturity on his part.
And you could see the frustration beginning to mount in the Ohio U players. They couldn't go to their best guy. It got him out of sync.
Well, anytime you take your leading scorer out of the offense, and they just didn't attack the last 7 minutes of the game. But again, I think it's just so crucial for him to give that effort when the offense wasn't, you know, they were really making him pay on offense. They were really double teaming, and he was able to keep this effort. And that maturity is really important.
Kentucky and the Golden Knights of Central Florida, both teams are out warming up. And we'll have more on tonight's matchup from Rupp Arena coming up from downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Stay with us on the Big Blue Sports Network. Log on to ukathletics.com to find out how to order your copy of the DVD, Adolph Rupp, Myth, Legend, and Fact. You can find it at ukathletics.com, also at wkyt.com. Find out sort of the inside story behind the scenes of the former UK coach, the legend, the man who built Kentucky basketball into what it is today. Adolph Rupp, Myth, Legend, and Fact. You can get it on DVD today at ukathletics.com or wkyt.com. Of course, we're standing in a building named after Rupp Arena, and with me right now is a gentleman who played for the legendary coach, Mike Pratt, the longtime radio analyst for the basketball Wildcats. Mike, you joined us on our first show to talk about what you thought we might see from this team today, and I'm curious about what we've seen since then, what kind of improvements we've seen, in your opinion.
Well, Gabe, I think defensively they've gotten better. It's been kind of streaky at times. For example, the second half against Ohio U, they turned up the pressure. But I think they've got the potential, when it all comes together, to be a pretty good defensive team. They need to tweak a few things, as the coaching staff says, where I really think you will see a tremendous improvement in this next 2 months is at the offensive end. I think there's a lot of work to be done there. I think Tubby always brings his teams around slowly at the offensive end, and I wouldn't expect anything else but improvement in that area, a lot of tweaking, a lot of little nuances that will happen over the next 2 months to make his team a much more efficient offensive team.
Of course, the X factor in that improvement is not Rajon Rondo, but Randolph Morris, who rejoins the team 1 week from tonight. Do you think that's any kind of a mental factor with the Wildcats, good or bad?
Well, I think it's a mental factor. I think all the guys probably really look forward to having Randolph back. He was a part of their team, an integral part of the team at the end of the year. The issue is, how will Tubby bring him along? Will he bring him along slowly? I would hazard a guess, and it's just a guess, that he'll make Randolph Morris earn his spurs.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see what happens with Randolph. He's not going to be given the spot, I don't think. I don't know anything you don't know. But I would say that Tubby's going to make him earn it, and that'll be good. That's good for the team, and that's the type of coach that Tubby is.
Doug Barnes has described this team as scrappy, which it was an adjective I didn't think I'd expect to hear this year going in, but I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, I think Doug knows what he's talking about, and he's very observant, and I think that is. I think at times this team plays soft, and I think Tubby will tell you that too. But at times it can really get physical and do some things like they did against Louisville. So this team yet has to find its identity, and I think we'll be able to see that in the next 30 days.
Tubby talked after the Ohio game about a lack of a knockout punch. You've coached this game, you've played this game. Can you develop a knockout punch?
Yes, you can, but sometimes teams will go a whole year and not understand what it means to put the foot in the throat and knock them out. And when you have that ability, sometimes that's a learned experience. Sometimes guys come to college with that, but many times it just takes pure nurturing on the coaching staff and development of a young player.
All right, appreciate your help.
Always,
talk to you
Gabe.
down the road. That's Mike Pratt from the UK Radio Network. Coming up, we'll hear from the gentleman who will call the Action TV side here on the Big Blue Sports Network, Rob Bromley and Martin Newman. Stay with us. More to come on Wildcat Warm-Up here on the Big Blue Sports Network. It's Kentucky and Central Florida coming your way from Rupp Arena in just a few minutes. And now to the gentleman who will call the action courtside on the Big Blue Sports TV Network, Rob Bromley and Martin Newton.
Thank you, Dick. And Martin, I'll tell you, it was quite a comeback Friday night in Cincinnati. It was an intense basketball game. I said to Tubby afterwards, you got to go back a ways. You got to go back to Michigan State, LSU in the SEC tournament, even Louisville, Alabama, to find a game that was that intense. It was something.
Well, I think I said on our last broadcast that whoever did the scheduling, we need to work with them a little bit, because you got Iona in Louisville and then Ohio at Cincinnati. And I'm going to tell you something. They're going to be not a top seed, but one of those 12, 13 seeds in the NCAA tournament that you got to watch out for. The good news is you snuck away with a win. The bad news is you learned a little bit about your team that you didn't like offensively, so they've got some improvement to do here in this game to Central Florida before they get into the SEC.
Well, let's talk about Patrick Sparks, because he struggled Friday night. He went 1 for 10 from the field, and, frankly, it was one of his worst games as a Wildcat, probably.
Yeah, he's really struggled shooting the basketball, and not just since he's moved to the point guard position. Really, after the West Virginia game, he's only had double figure 3 times in the last 8, and I think a lot of it is because of that right there. Poor shot selection. He's not taking shots within the flow of the offense, which frustrates Tubby.
Good pass here to Wukash Orbit. Of course, he's been playing mostly at the point now, playing the wing.
Well, he is comfortable with the ball in his hand, and there you saw exactly what he can do. But once again, I think shot selection has been the key for Patrick, and when he takes good shots within the offense, things seem to work out for him. There you saw the miss on the drive.
And the turnovers. He made some big ones.
Well, and those are just careless turnovers because they're uncharacteristic of Patrick. But I'm going to tell you something about Patrick Sparks. He is a big game player, and look at what he's done since West Virginia. 25 against West Virginia, but only 3 games in double. But I still think once you get into the league, into the conference, Patrick Sparks is going to be ready to play.
All right, as Dick mentioned a moment ago, it is 1 tonight. We will see the return of Randolph Morris. The Wildcats open SEC play right here on this floor against Vanderbilt. I think everybody's excited about it, and there are unconfirmed reports, but I have it on good authority that Randolph Morris has just been sensational in practice over at the Coliseum. Now, can you fill us in on that at all?
I can. I've watched him, and he has been wonderful. I think what Randolph learned by going through the camps that he went through with the NBA was that, you know what, there's a lot of guys out there that can play, and they love to play. I'm not sure Randolph loved to play. I think he's learned I got to play with some passion. I got to step it up a notch if I want to fulfill my dreams. right here at the University of Kentucky and prove to Tubby Smith and this fan base and his teammates that he can be a great teammate. I think he's going to have a wonderful coming out party.
How do you think Tubby will work him in here now? How do you think he'll utilize him here, just starting out in that first game 1 week from tonight?
I think Tubby Smith is about team first. I think Mike Pratt said it best. He's going to have to earn his spurs, and he's exactly right. He's going to have to come in here. He's worked hard in practice, but he's to show good minutes in the games, and I can do that by defending and rebounding, not necessarily scoring right out of the box, but defense and rebounding can be the two areas he can really help this team. And then the scoring, you saw what he did in the NCAA tournament last year, averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds. So I think if he can come in and give him that spark, he'll earn his spurs.
Yeah, make no mistake about it, as you can see in this footage right here, as he turns and puts it in again. This fella has got some offensive skills.
Well, there's no question, and that's what this basketball team needs. Their 4 leading scorers are all out of the back court. They need somebody in the front court that can give them points.
All right, we are going to wrap it up here in just a minute on Wildcat warm-up, so stay with us. Getting set to meet the Knights of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Kentucky and the Central Florida Golden Knights up from Orlando. That's nothing about this program. We've talked about the coming on for the Wildcats for Kalen Sims inside, Joe Crawford outside, but they're getting some big help off the bench from Ramel Brad.
Well, Dick, he's played big, especially in the last couple ball games. Against Ohio, he was really on. He was able to take the ball and penetrate, see him take him all the way to the basket there. But he has the ability to take the ball into a gap, jump up quickly, and it's hard to guard that and put a soft touch on it.
Never made a shot he didn't like, but he's learning to take better.
Well, he's just learning to play within the system, and that's tough for a lot of players. And I get tickled they talk about his swagger. Well, I don't think he's ever lost his swagger. Do you?
No. He's a New York guy, and he loves to let you know about that, but there's something that goes along with that, and that's confidence, playing, knowing you can play with anybody.
Well, and he really, with his quickness, his ball handling, that gives us another point guard as quick as Rondo, and not too many people have that kind of combination, so he's just a great weapon for us to have.
Unusual, too, for a player that young to relish playing defense. He seems to like it.
Well, he gets after you, and he's got so much quickness. He can get into passing lanes. He can pick up a lot of loose balls, and again, I just think he's just starting to play with the confidence. Hopefully he'll continue through the rest of the season.
All right, Doug, thanks very much. Now stay tuned for Kentucky and Florida. Rob Bromley, Martin Newton, and yours truly to bring you all the action from here in Rupp. Stand by. That's coming up next on the Big Blue Sports Network.
Wildcat warm-up by Dodge, by Whitaker Bank, by State Farm Insurance, by your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers, by O'Reilly Auto Parts, Home Health Care, by your Kentuckiana Ford dealers, by KU, and by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance.
The Cats needed a comeback. It was Joe Crawford. He had a big first half, finished with a career-high 23. But all around, it was a team effort. Kalen Sims played big. So did Bobby Perry with some clutch baskets. Ramel Bradley even banked one off the board. Kentucky came back to beat Ohio. Tonight, the Cats are back in Rupp.
The following is a presentation of the Big Blue Sports Network.
From Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky, it's University of Kentucky Wildcat basketball. Tonight, it's the Kentucky Wildcats versus the Central Florida Golden Knights. Tonight's game is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers. By S&S Tire and Auto Service Centers. Hometown service you've trusted for over 30 years. By Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. By Family Home Healthcare. Come home to family. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, seek shelter today. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
Cats finished up 2005 up in Cincinnati. Tonight they're back on their home floor in Lexington to begin a new year. Here in Rupp Arena, it's the Kentucky Wildcats and the Knights of Central Florida. And hello everybody, Rob Bromley courtside along with Martin Newton. Quite a comeback against the Ohio Bobcats Friday night, Martin, and Joe Crawford with that career-high 23 certainly had a lot to do with it.
Well, I talked to Joe a little bit at shoot-around, and he mentioned, you know, I was relaxed, my legs, and that was evident in his 4 for 6 shooting from behind the arc. Played a wonderful all-around game. They call it his breakout game. That's yet to be seen, but I think that you're going to see some good things from him starting conference play.
Well, all the way around, it was a team effort. Not just Joe Crawford. There was the likes of Ramel Bradley, Raquelin Sims, Bobby Perry chipped in.
Well, everybody did, and you're right. Ramel Bradley had another big game, 18 points. He had great shot selection, Rob, 6 for 10. But there you see Joe Crawford knocking down the 3. That was one of his 4. And Raquelin Sims, I thought, also did a wonderful job as well. He was, for the last 2 games, he's been 10 for 15 from the field with 11 points, 12 rebounds in those 2 games. Just a great job by those 3 clutch performers.
All right, as Donna Smith looks on, we've got the starting lineups coming up from Rupp Arena here in Lexington as Kentucky takes on Central Florida. And here in Rupp Arena tonight, former Kentucky Governor Paul Patton in attendance. And tonight's starting lineups brought to you by your friendly local Dodge dealers. Dodge, grab life by the horns. Let's go to Doug Bruce with your Dodge starting lineups.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rupp Arena for basketball action. Featuring the Golden Knights of the University of Central Florida and your University of Kentucky Wildcats. Now, let's meet the starting lineups. First, for UCF, at forward, a 6'6" junior from Memphis, Tennessee, number 30, Josh Peppers. At forward, a 6'8" senior from Omaha, Nebraska, number 33, Anthony Williams. At forward, a 6'3" junior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, number 2, Bill Payne. At guard, a 6'3" senior from Junction City, Kansas, number 21, Justin Rose. And at guard, a 6' sophomore from Largo, Florida, number 4, Mike O'Donnell. And the head coach of the Golden Knights, Kurt Spirall. guard, a 6'4" sophomore from Detroit, Michigan, number 32, Joe Crawford. At guard, a 6'1" sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky, number 4, Rajon Rondo. And at guard, a 6' senior from Central City, Kentucky, number 22, Patrick Sparks. And the head coach of the Cats, Orlando Tommy Smith.
There are your Dodge starting lineups. We've got the opening tip from Rupp in Lexington just ahead as Kentucky takes on Central Florida. And it's good to be back in Rupp Arena. Kentucky against Central Florida. The Wildcats have not played here since they faced Louisville on December 17th. Dick Gabriel is courtside here with us tonight, and let's check in with him right now. Dick?
Thanks, Rob. It has been a while for the Wildcats. This is not the first appearance in Rupp Arena for the Golden Knights, their first game against Kentucky. But back in 1994, they won their way to the NCAA tournament. They got to play in the regional here in Rupp Arena. Unfortunately, they ran into top-seeded Purdue with the big dog, Glenn Robinson, and their stay was a short one here in Lexington, but that was a high point in the history of Golden Knights basketball. Rob?
Thank you, Dick. Central Florida into this game with a record of 6-5. Martin, they won their first 4. They've lost 5 of their last 7, however, and they're going into Conference USA.
And Kirk Spirall is really frustrated with his team because he can't figure out what he's got to do to push their buttons. So he'll see what he's done tonight to try to get them motivated here in Rupp Arena.
All right, our officials are Mike Stewart, Doug Sermons, and Everett Summers. They're the fellas who will be in charge of this one as Anthony Williams jumps against Łukasz Orbzut. And it was controlled there by Lavelle Payne, and now here bringing it up is O'Donnell. O'Donnell, their point guard, a sophomore out of Largo, Florida. He has the ball right now. He's a transfer from North Carolina State. Played 1 season at NC State down there with Herb Sendek. And the shot is good by Josh Peppers. So a 3 for Josh Peppers to start the scoring off, the junior out of Memphis. And just like that in the opening second, Central Florida jumps in front. Here's Sparks. Off the mark. And it's rebounded there by Justin Rose. Rose, a fine player. He's a senior out of Junction City, Kansas, averaging about 12 a game. Shot off the baseline, goes for Anthony Williams. Now the Knights come out firing, and they're up 5-zip.
Now this is what this team has done. They get off to good starts, but they have not been able to maintain leads. They lost an 11-point halftime lead to Western Kentucky.
Here's Łukasz Orbzut, free throw line, off the back of the rim, and it's cleared off of there by Rose. So the Knights with a early 5-point lead and the basketball as we have played just over a minute. Josh Peppers hit that 3 a moment ago. He's shooting 37.5% from beyond the arc, a 47% field goal shooter. Here's Rose taking the pass outside, hounded by Rondo. Down the lane, dishing off underneath, and it's laid in nicely by Lavelle Payne. And you see the look of disgust on the face of Tubby Smith as the Knights run off 7 unanswered here in the first minute and 35 seconds of the ball game.
Well, they say a picture says 1,000 words. Tubby's expression said all you needed to know. Frustration. He is not happy with this Cats team, the way they've come out and played defense. And you know, this is exactly how they came out against Ohio U, allowing Ohio U to shoot 65%.
Rondo with a 3. And the ball out of bounds. They'll give it to Kentucky.
But I don't know what you've got to do to motivate this team and make this team understand that it's 40 minutes of Tubby Smith basketball, which means pressure defense, and how they can come out lackluster is beyond me.
Central Florida comes out, puts up 3 shots, hits all 3 of them. 3 for 3 from the floor. And a 7-0 lead for Kirk Sparrow's team. Underneath, nice pass, and Sheree Thomas underneath draws the foul.
Yeah, that's great dribble penetration right there by Rajon Rondo, but watch him right here. He's as good as anybody in the country, using the screen and then getting to the hole. Makes a nice pass right there, but you know what concerns you about this Kentucky basketball team is that they turn the defense on when they want to. And defense is not, that's what it is, it's a want to. You have to want to play defense, and They need 40 minutes of defense put together before they get into the conference schedule.
Charay, a 70% free throw shooter, but as a team, the Cats are just 64.8, and a couple of bricks to start it off at the line. And Kentucky is still scoreless here in 2+ minutes of action. Rob Bromley along with Martin Newton. Dick Gabriel's here with us. Here's another shot from outside which won't go. Williams missing badly. Put back up by Payne. That wouldn't go down. And it's run down by Williams. Central Florida still has it. Here's Peppers. He can't get it. And the rebound comes off. Taken by Justin Rose, and Central Florida still has the basketball.
Well, and Tubby Smith just pulled 5 new players to get into the game, and the crowd is applauding his move.
It'll be a complete lineup change. Down underneath, Payne. Out of bounds, it'll belong to Central Florida, and here come the 5 newcomers. Jagari Aline, Bobby Perry, Robbie Moss, Rick Kalen Sims, and Ramel Bradley. All check into the lineup for Tubby Smith. They enter with just a little more than 17 minutes to go in this first half, and the Cats down 7-0. Here's Peppers driving on Sims. Rose. And the rebound out of bounds. It'll go to Kentucky. So we'll see what this 5 can do, Martin.
Well, I can tell you right now, they can't do any worse than the first 5. Those 3 offensive rebounds on that end of the court did not make Tubby Smith very happy. And I think more importantly than that, and I hate to keep harking on it, but just the fact that they didn't come out with any defense intensity, and UCF was basically get shots wherever they wanted them those first 3 possessions.
They hit their first 3, and now Central Florida has missed its next 5. The starters are on the bench here with a little over 3 minutes gone. And we got a little bit of a hold up here as they clean up the perspiration on the floor down in the corner.
Well, and it's hard for Kentucky too, because this is a group that, as you said, has not played in this building until December the 17th. So getting back into this atmosphere, there you see the rebounding already, Rob. 8-1 in favor of Central Florida. That's not going to get it done if you're a Wildcat.
Cross to Aline. And the hook won't go down. A rebound out of bounds. It'll still belong to Kentucky.
Well, they got the ball inside to the big fellow where you wanted it. He just wasn't able to finish. Kentucky did shoot around in this building today, so but this is a difficult shooting environment. It's a big building with a lot of room behind the baskets.
Here's Ramel Bradley, who's really been playing well for Tubby Smith. Bobby Perry now. Bradley looking inside. Plenty of time on the shot clock, 17 seconds as Bradley works on O'Donnell. Perry wouldn't shoot. Kalen Sims will take it. That won't go. Long rebound, scrambled for, and the Knights come up with it. Right into the hands of Justin Rose. But here comes Central Florida again, as we have played 4 minutes now. 7-0 Knights lead, and they can add to it right here.
Look at the defensive intensity, though. Much better by this group.
Payne guarded by Kalen Sims, and he drives on him, dishing off to Williams. Short jumper off the board, and it wouldn't go down. Cats quickly into the front court. Sims will take it. And Kentucky still can't score. We've gone 4.5 minutes now without a Wildcat basket. Kentucky has opened the game 0 for 6. Here's a steal. See if the Cats can connect on this trip after missing their first 6. And Aline is pushed. As he was going for the sure thing right there, he draws the foul. Time out on the floor with 15-11 left to go here in this first half. Central Florida has had the better of it here in the early going, leading 7-0 over Kentucky. For every bank shot of tonight's game, Whitaker Bank will give $50 to the Kaywood Ledford Scholarship Fund.
Does that count for bricks as well? Because we haven't seen many bank shots, but we've seen a lot of bricks tonight.
Well, it is 0 for 6 from the floor for the Wildcats, and Central Florida coming out hitting its first 3. Since then, the Knights have cooled off. They have missed their last 7. So the field goal shooting is not very good at all.
Boy, the stat that stands out to me, though, is the rebounding, Rob. 10 rebounds for Central Florida, 3 of those offensively, and only 4 for the Cats. And I just think the effort. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a good defensive basketball team that Kirk Spearall brings in here. Now, for the season, they've been holding teams to 42% from the field and only 29% from behind the arc.
Well, not only are the Cats 0 for 6 from the floor, they're now 0 for 3 at the free throw stripe. That foul was on Lavelle Payne just before we took the timeout, and Shigari Aline gets the first point. Payne has 2 fouls, so he has now gone to the bench, and Jermaine Taylor, a 6'4" freshman out of Tavares, Florida, has checked in, and they call palming the ball here on Justin Rose as he brings it up. So the Knights turn it over.
I'm sorry, Justin Rose is kind of their do-it-all guy. There you saw O'Donnell go down court to point guard, and Justin Rose, who is kind of their do-it-all. He's their Rajon Rondo. He's had a couple of games where he's had 10 rebounds, and he plays multiple positions, and good pressure right there, though, by the Cats in the full court. UCF switching up the defenses. They played man. They'll go a little zone. You'll see a lot of different looks from them in the half-court defense tonight.
Yeah, let's see how the Wildcats handle this as the shot clock goes down now to 13 seconds. Cross-court pass. Bobby Perry. Now we got a 3-second violation in the lane.
Well, the cross-court pass, Shigari never got out of the lane, and that's Kentucky's first turnover. But boy, they look out of sync on the half-court offense.
The headache continues here for Tubby Smith in the first 5 minutes plus of this one. We bid you a Happy New Year. This first game of 2006 for the Kentucky Wildcats, not getting off to a very good start. Taylor with it, he's just come in. Also checking in Adam Gill, wearing number 25. He's a sophomore out of Springboro, Ohio. Sets the screen there for O'Donnell. And inside there's Gill, and he's able to draw the foul. First foul on the Wildcats tonight goes on Raquelin Sims.
Well, Shigari Aline got caught on high on a screen and roll, and you've got to make a decision to either trap that or you've got to hedge and then get back, and he really did neither, and Gill's going to go to the line. And, you know, right now when you're not scoring well out of your half-court offensively, what you've got to do is your defense has got to score some points from it. You've got to pressure and get a turnover and create some easy baskets. Adam
Gill hits the free throw, his first point. This is not a good free throw shooting team that Kirk Spearall has, 59.6%. What do you know, Gill makes them both. And it's a 9-1 lead. Inside Aline, and he gets the easy one, and a fine pass from Robbie Moss.
Now there's good transition basketball. Little secondary break right there, took it down the sideline. Nice job by Shigari to finish. It's a very physical Central Florida team, Rob. Every shot has been contested and with a body on it.
Gill handing it off to O'Donnell. He drives right side. Peppers now with a shot clock down to 8 seconds. He finds a lean in front of him. Here's Jermaine Taylor. And the long one rattles in for him. A three-pointer for the freshman Taylor, his first points of the night. As Central Florida has its biggest lead on 9-point margin. Perry answering at the other end. Only the second field goal for the Wildcats, the first three-pointer of the night. And it cuts the lead down to 12-6, a 6-point Central Florida lead.
Central Florida has come in here with a lot of confidence, and you just can see it build. The more they put to it, the Cats on the offensive end, the more their confidence will build.
They come in here off a loss to Birmingham Southern, 58-50. That was on Friday night as Peppers draws the foul. Crowd here doesn't like it. That'll be number 2 on Raquelin Sims.
Rob, here's good ball movement right here. Went all the way around the horn. Bobby Perry catches it in rhythm and has been one of the few offensive highlights we could show you tonight. Maybe the only offensive highlight we can show you tonight, because the Cats really struggling on the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah, Sims to the bench with those 2 fouls, and Shigari Aline goes out. We've got Sheree Thomas back in. Joe Crawford is checked back into the lineup. tipped away at the baseline, and they call the foul here on Central Florida. It'll be on Payne. Just going to be his third foul.
Just a great job right here by Joe Crawford to rotate over from the foul line. Sheree Thomas forced his man baseline. Joe did a good job of help defense, and that's how you get playing time in Tubby Smith's system.
So Payne has a quick 3 fouls on him. He goes out of the lineup now to the Central Florida bench. And let's see, Williams is checked back in. Kentucky has been behind all the way, right from the outset. When the Knights in Central Florida came out and hit their first 3 shots. Sparks has returned now for the Wildcats. Rajon Rondo in there. Nice pass to Sheree Thomas, and he almost converted, not quite, but he draws the foul.
Much better ball movement right there. Well, now what Kentucky is not doing is they're not dribble penetrating the gaps against the zone defense, but they're doing a good job of not holding the ball, good ball movement, and watch Patrick makes a beautiful pass inside to Sheree. Doesn't finish, but he gets the foul, and you can't help but think that when Randolph Morris comes back, that's going to make a difference against zone defenses, because you'll be able to get the ball inside to him, and he can finish and shoot over the top of some guys.
Foul went on Anthony Williams, his first, and 4 team fouls now on Central Florida, as Sheree Thomas has now missed 3 of 4 at the line tonight. 5 points. Central Florida lead as Kentucky applies some pressure, and the ball almost mishandled there by Williams, but the Knights able to save it.
Well, they've got a mismatch down on the low box with Patrick Sparks on Williams. Let's see if they can recognize and get it to him.
O'Donnell. Long 3-pointer by Mike O'Donnell, the point guard, the sophomore out of Largo, Florida. They've now hit 3 threes. First points of the evening for O'Donnell, and an 8-point Central Florida lead.
Well, they went with the other mismatch. They went with Sheree Thomas on O'Donnell.
Well, Crawford, he can't get it off the back, but Sparks tracks it down. And they're going to call a foul here on O'Donnell. That'll be number 1 on Mike O'Donnell, and it will be the 5th team foul charged to Central Florida here in the first half. Time out of the court here in Lexington. So far, it's been all Central Florida. The Knights lead by 8, 15-7. At the conclusion of tonight's game, we will select the S&S Tire UK Player of the Game. S&S Tire will donate $250 in that player's name to the Kentucky Special Olympics. And at this time, we would like to invite you to make plans to attend the Blast. It is Saturday, January 21st, right after the Kentucky-South Carolina game. Just head over to the Hyatt Regency for food, entertainment, fun, and a chance to meet Coach Tubby Smith. Tickets can be purchased at the UK Basketball Museum or any Central Bank location. Proceeds to the Tubby Smith Foundation and the Kentucky Children's Hospital at UK. So we look forward to that as we look at our current governor. Saw Paul Patton, Ernie Fletcher in attendance tonight, sitting just a few rows behind us. His wife Glenna there with him.
Well, I tell you what, if the Cats don't start shooting it better, we're going to pull the 2 back out on the floor and put a uniform on them.
We have not had a starter score in this game. And Martin, we are almost 9 minutes in. Sheree Thomas takes it inside, and Łukasz Orchard gets tied up, and the possession will remain with Kentucky. But, you know, that's the thing, Martin. You never know what's going to happen. A half hour ago, if I were to say to you, Shagari Aline will score the first 3 points of this game, and a Wildcat starter won't a point at the 11-minute mark, you would have said I was crazy.
Yeah, well, I just think you're crazy sometimes anyway, but especially then. No, it's unbelievable, and it's hard to explain. And, you know, now the other problem that you've got is you've got a Central Florida team that's shooting it pretty good and a Kentucky team that's not defending very well.
Crawford way off the mark. Thomas a good rebound. Inside, Thomas taking the pass from Sparks. He's blocked by Gill. And the Knights come away with it. Quickly into front court, Peppers. Central Florida with an 8-point lead as we near the midway point of this first half, 15-7. Kirk Sparrow's team has led it right from the start when they came out and hit their first 3 shots. Here's William Byron. Edwards at rebound. Rondo off here to Crawford on the near side. Inside it goes to Thomas, who comes back out with it now. Sparks. Rondo spins, went right around the well. Crawford wide open. Well, Joe Crawford just can't find the range. Not like he did up in Cincinnati Friday evening, that's for sure.
Well, what happens is, too, when you're not shooting the ball well from perimeter, and that's been the problem with this team, and you don't have an inside presence that can get points, then all of a sudden those jump shots become a little bit tighter, and you squeeze the trigger a little bit, and that's what's happening tonight.
That'll be number 1 on Joe Crawford as the foul is called, and 3 team fouls on the Wildcats. As you see, Jared Carter checking into the lineup for Kentucky, and Łukasz Orbzud going to the bench.
Now, Tubby's played 11 players already in this game, and we're just under 10 minutes into the first half. And I tell you what, I'd throw Preston LeMaster in there here in a little while and see if he can't knock down some jumpers. He has been shooting the lights out in practice.
Gill went out, and we got a couple of new players in the lineup here for Central Florida as a long one is hit by Peppers. Josh Peppers with his second three-pointer of the night. Martin, they've now hit 4 threes in this game.
Well, and the book on Josh Peppers is, and you're going to get a foul right here on Jared Carter for throwing his elbow. Kentucky a little frustrated. But the book on Josh Peppers is he's got no mid-range game. You've got to make him put the ball on the floor, and Kentucky's allowed him to stay there and shoot point shots. And boy, you can really see the frustration on the Wildcat players on the offensive end of the floor right now.
Carter immediately picks up a foul. Kendrick Zondervan, player from Holland, 6'9", 215 pounds. He's wearing number 13. He's to the lineup for Central Florida. And I mentioned that Lindbeck is in there now, Troy Lindbeck. Lindbeck controls it here on the near side of the court, guarded by Patrick Sparks as we hit the 9-minute mark. And the Knights enjoying their biggest lead, an 11-point margin at 18-7. Zondervan is blocked by Carter. Rondo on the run. Short jumper won't go. And they give it to Central Florida, and you would think, Martin, that was going to be the play that would ignite this Wildcat team, but the Cats just unable to convert.
Well, I thought Rondo would go on and take it all the way to the basket, and the defense did a good job of hustling back. They had 4 defenders back, but that point in time, you got to take it to the basket and try to get to the foul line. But you know, I like what I've seen out of Jared Carter so far. The freshman's come in with some energy.
Well, Noel lost the handle, and they turn it over again. Here's Rondo quickly in the front court. Off to Crawford, and he puts it in. Joe Crawford is first 2.
That's either a block or a charge, but that's not a no call. Too much contact right there, but great job by Joe Crawford and Rajon Rondo picking it up on the defensive end of the floor.
And now this Rupp Arena crowd gets some life into it for really the first time tonight. Kentucky still down by 8 minutes to go in the half. And we're going to get another foul here on Joe Crawford. That'll be his second. Number 2 on Joe Crawford. The Wildcats now with 5 team fouls. We get a timeout on the floor with 7:58 to go. Central Florida up by 9, 18-9. You can purchase your own copy of the 2-hour documentary on former coach Adolph Rupp by going to UCFathletics.com. Adolph Rupp, myth, legend, and fact, was extensively researched, narrated, and produced by the Big Blue Sports Network's Dick Gabriel. Once again, log on to UKathletics.com to purchase your own copy. And what a job Dick did with that 2-hour documentary. Worked on it for more than a year, and I congratulate him.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one of the best I've ever seen, and I really, you got to give your hats off to Dick, because he put a lot of research and a lot of effort in that thing, and it was really, really good.
And here we are in the house that Rupp built tonight, Rupp Arena in Lexington, with 7:58 remaining, and Central Florida with a 9-point lead. The Knights have had the better of it all the way.
I don't think this is how Adolph designed the game of basketball right here. How about that? 3 field goals in 12 minutes. That's not going to get it done against anybody.
Inside, stolen away by Ramel Bradley. Bradley quickly into the front court. Here's Bobby Perry open. He fakes Williams and has it stolen away. Cats turn it over for the third time.
Don't capable of doing. Play within yourself there. Bobby tried to do something. It's just not in his repertoire.
Rose putting up the elbow. Bradley, and he's called for the foul. That'll be number 1 on Justin Rose. Second, I beg your pardon.
The book on Justin Rose and Josh Peppers was on Rose, you got to keep him off the boards. He's already got 5 boards in this game. And Peppers is you got to make him put it on the floor, and he's already got 2 threes.
Now they called the foul on Williams. Second, I stand corrected. Old one from outside by Ramel Bradley. His first points of the night. Second three Wildcats. They put it up on Anthony Williams, and he's now got 2.
Well, I think they may have to go back and change that. I thought Rose was the one to draw. So did Kirk Spearoff.
High arching shot off the baseline. Won't go down. The Cats have got it back. They're within 6 here. Rondo to the free throw line. Comes back to Bradley. He works against O'Donnell. Pass tipped away, but recovered there alertly by Jared Carter.
Now Jared got back on his heels that time instead of coming and meeting the pass.
Robbie Moss. Robbie Moss, his first points of the night, and Kentucky has in 3 at 18-15. Couple of 3-pointers. And the Central Florida lead is shaved to 3.
But you know how you can tell greatness is when a great player decides to take over a game. And that's what you're seeing out of Rajon Rondo right now. Great dribble penetration on the last 2 plays, kicking to shooters. He's rebounding on the defensive end, getting steals, and great players take over games. Hats off to Rajon.
And this big crowd here in Rupp Arena comes as the Wildcats have been behind throughout. At one point, they were down by double figures. I think the biggest Central Florida lead was, what, 11?
Well, it was 11 at the last time out, and it's amazing to me, this crowd, when you think about the holidays, and now tomorrow's the first day back. Most people go back to work, and kids going back to school. About an empty seat in the upper level of this place.
They are packed in here tonight. Hardly an empty seat to be found. Central Florida brings it up here. The 6-minute mark. O'Donnell against Rondo. The Cats back-to-back threes. They've run off 6 straight. Peppers. And it still belongs to the Knights. Right in front of the Wildcat bench.
Well, the defensive energy has definitely picked up. Credit that to the motivation of the bench used by Tubby Smith. Greatest motivator in sports.
Now Peppers in a double team. Gets it out to O'Donnell. Down underneath Gill. High off the board, and he lays it in. Adam Gill, his first field goal. He's got 4, and the lead goes back up to Rondo on the run. He's fouled as he drives down that left side of the lane. This one does go on Justin Rose, and they have that as number 1 on Rose.
For Rose to try to stay in front of Rajon Rondo. Kirk Spearoff changing defenses. You saw a little zone out of him. He's gone back to man. I'm going to tell you what, it's difficult in their defense to be able to keep Rajon in front of you.
Rajon, a 64% free throw shooter. He has his first point of the night. Leads this Wildcat team in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. Rebound taken away by Gill. So the Cats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missed free throws here tonight. And they're still down by 4. Rondo steals it away. Bradley gets hammered from behind by O'Donnell just as he puts it up, and he will have 3 free throws coming.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. That's an intelligent basketball play right there by Ramel Bradley. This is off the streets of New York right here. He goes up, kind of throws his head back, fakes the foul, and will go shoot the 3-point. But that is smart basketball. He was in no man's land on that jump shot, Rob.
Foul on O'Donnell was his second. Rummel averaging 9.2 per game. Shooting his free throws at 68%. He now has 4 in the game. Hit that three-pointer just a few moments ago. At a career high 18 against Ohio Friday night. 6 of 10 from the field. He was 4 for 4 at the line. He's got the first 2. He'll get one more.
Kentucky going to the line a lot tonight. This is already their 10th free throw. And this is a team that, Rob, only shoots 17 more free throws than their opponents. Now that tells you that they don't have an inside presence and they don't get points or fouls out of the paint.
Bradley 3 for 3. That's something that Tubby Smith has been talking about, Martin. He's got to see his team get to the free throw line more.
Well, they just don't have an inside presence, so teams really are not doubling down, and they're making Kentucky shoot over the top of you instead of beating it from the perimeter.
Pepper is down the lane, and he lays it in nicely. He's now got 8 points. First 2-point field goal for him. He's got a couple of threes. Here's Bradley. Got it from long range. Rummel Bradley. Second 3 of the night. 9 in the game for Bradley. He's the Wildcats' leading scorer, and that ties it up. So finally the Cats come back and draw even here at 22 all.
Well, he and Rajan have done it both on the offensive end of the floor and on the defensive end. And there you see the 5-second call right on cue by Rummel Bradley. And that's the 8th turnover for Central Florida.
And the Wildcats have turned it over just 3 times. Patrick Sparks, Ray Thomas started tonight's game on the bench right now. This lineup on the floor has done a pretty good job. Spearheaded by the guards Bradley and Rondo. No question about that, Martin, as you pointed out. And Kentucky now with a chance to finally go in front of this game as we near the 4-minute mark. Rondo spinning in the lane. First basket for Rajon Rondo. Little spinning jumper. He's got 3 points, and Kentucky's on top for the first time, 24-22.
You can't stop him. You just got to hope you can contain him.
O'Donnell. Nice pass in the lane, and it's put in there by Peppers. So Peppers now with 10. He's the leading scorer for the night. Rondo at the other end can't answer. Bobby Perry missed the tip. And the rebound pulled off of there by Dave Noel of Central Florida.
Well, Rondo's tired too. He looks like he may need a break.
O'Donnell back to Noel. He'll fire the 3. Gill had it stripped out of his hand. Rummel Bradley. Tied at 24. Rondo high off the glass.
He is absolutely worn out. Look at him, Rob. He just held his hand up for a break. I'm telling you, he has exerted every ounce of energy to get the Cats back in this ball game.
And Patrick Sparks up off the bench. He will come in here at the next opportunity. For Kentucky lead. We've got 3 minutes left to go in this first half. O'Donnell will fire. Rondo the rebound. He's going to have to go a little farther, hasn't he? Well, Lindbeck tried to draw the foul there, didn't get it. Bradley will take a 3. Good again! 3 threes for Rummel Bradley. And the Wildcats have shot out to their biggest lead of the game. They are up by 5. Time out on the floor with 2:43 left to go in this first half. As Rummel Bradley and Rajon Rondo have brought the Cats back. And I'll tell you, the play of these 2 youngsters has lifted Kentucky, and it's really lifted this Rupp Arena crowd.
Well, they have been phenomenal. Rummel Bradley's 3 for 3 from field goal, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, 3 for 3 from the free throw line. He's Mr. 3 tonight. He's doing it all. And Rajon Rondo was so dadgum tired those last possessions, but he still managed to get a bucket and an assist.
Now Bradley the leading scorer, Martin, and he's already got 12 points. Of course, he had really picked it up over the last 7 games. Rummel came in here tonight averaging about 11.5 points over the last 7. And he continues to show his stuff, although he had hit only 4 of his last 18 3-pointers. Of course, that goes all the way back to the Indiana game when he went 0 for 7.
Well, you know what he's done is he's taken criticism and he's coaching well. Tubby has been on him and trying to convert him to play his system and his style and get a little of that New York out of him, and he has done a great job of listening
Well driving, the tip wouldn't go down, and Robbie Moss coming the other way with it. Leaves it for Bradley. He'll fire the jumper. Got it!
He feels it, Rob.
He's now got 14 points. That's his first two-point basket. Ramel Bradley out of New York City, the sophomore. Kentucky now out to a 7-point lead.
Well, and he feels it right now. The basket feels like it's about as big around as the ocean. I had one of those games. That's the only one I can remember.
And Rose lays it in on a nice drive. He gets his first two of the night. He came in averaging almost 12 per game and shooting 51% from the floor as Central Florida pulls back to within 5. Sparks looks inside. Here's Bradley now way out top. He'll take it. This one wouldn't go down, and Rose clears it off.
Well, and that's the problem. When that basket feels that good, you don't think you're going to miss anything. You start taking shots outside of the offense. The beauty of his shots is all 4 of them have come off assists. That one did not.
Cats started this game just 3 of 14. And since then, they have hit 7 of 10. Williams, little jumper down off the baseline, wouldn't go, and Thomas clears it off. Here's Sparks driving the lane against Rose. High off the board, and it goes. Patrick Sparks with his first deuce of the night. And the Cats are back up by 7 as we go under 1 minute here in this first half in Rupp.
A tough shot by Patrick Sparks. Now his kiss off the glass.
Central Florida led it by double figures. Led by 11 points. First half they trail now by 7. Noel rims the basket with a 3. Williams, good rebound. Back out to Lindback. He'll try it from long range. And here comes Patrick Sparks in the front court. He's got 25.
Great decision right there by Pat. That's a senior right there. He looked up. He saw the clock was at 26 and pulled it back out when he didn't have numbers.
And a 30-second timeout called by the Wildcat bench. So now the Cats will have a chance to extend a 7-point lead here with 19.5 left to go in this first half. And the 3-point shooting. Ramel Bradley is hit 3 from long range. Bobby Perry and Robbie Moss also have a 3 in this game. But what a shooting exhibition it has been here in the first half, especially by the sophomore Ramel Bradley.
Well, you got to credit Rajon Rondo, too, because he's the one that's driving and dishing and getting these guys wide open looks. Kentucky, as bad as they started, the last 8 minutes they have really started to light it up. And Ramel Bradley is on fire.
Oh, he's a likable youngster, isn't he?
Always smiling, just
always
loves to
smiling.
play.
Got that great smile, and he loves this game.
You know, you would like to see, and I know Patrick Sparks he's going to get out of whatever slump he's been in, I can promise you that, but you would like to see Patrick smile a little bit and play with that passion that you know he's got in him for basketball. It's got to become a fun game again for Patrick, and this might be his night to put some of that fun back in the game.
Sparks, pounded here by Taylor. He's got 6 seconds, and he gives off here to Perry. And Gill rebound. Will run out here in this first half. All right, we've reached halftime with Kentucky up 33-26. We'll be back with our halftime activities in a moment. It is halftime here at Rupp Arena in Lexington with the Kentucky Wildcats leading Central Florida 33-26. And we welcome you back, everybody. Rob Bromley courtside here with Martin Newton, and shooting has been the story. Wow, it started out so bad for Kentucky, Martin, and then the Cats got hot.
Well, it was a tale of 2 halves within the first half. They were only 21% the first 10 minutes, 73% the second. But I got to tell you, Rob, I think it was defense that was what sparked that offense the second 10 minutes.
All right, we'll be back with our halftime activities in just a moment. Stay with us. The Cats on top of Central Florida by 7 here at halftime.
University of Kentucky Wildcat Basketball is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, seek shelter today. By Family Home Healthcare. Come home to family. By Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. By S&S Tire and Auto Service Centers. Hometown service you've trusted for over 30 years. By your Kentucky Select Chevy dealers. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Welcome back to Lexington. It is Kentucky 33, Central Florida 26 here at halftime. And in case you're just joining us, this game was all Central Florida right at the start as the Knights came out Martin and scored the first 7 in this game, then build on that lead. But Tubby Smith with that bench is a motivator, and that helps. And the Cats up by 7 here now at halftime.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable, seriously, a tale of two halves. The first 10 minutes was horrible. Tubby benches his starters. In fact, they've got a starter. You mentioned the first 9 minutes of the game. They only have a starter that scores, but they played better on the defensive end, and I think that's what Tubby's trying to get this team to understand. If they will guard people for 40 minutes, then the offense will come, and they did a better job of guarding the second 10 minutes.
Well, you got to give Central Florida a lot of credit. They went to the boards hard. They came out with a lot of energy. But then, as it turned out, they committed a lot of turnovers, and Kentucky capitalized.
Well, and that's what Kirk Sparrow told me today in their shooter. I said, I can't figure this team out. I don't know what buttons to push because we'll play hard for 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden we'll go to sleep. I think Kentucky had a little bit to do with that tonight, but still, this was a much better effort the second 10 minutes.
Dick Gabriel will be up next. He'll take you along through halftime, so stay with us with Kentucky leading Central Florida 33-26 here at the half.
Back in Rupp Arena in Lexington, where Kentucky leads Central Florida by 7 points at halftime. The Wildcats trailed by as many as 11 before some late half heroics by Rajon Rondo and Ramel Bradley. We talked in the pregame show about Joe Crawford, his emergence, and the reemergence of Raquelin Sims. Both of them shackled to the bench for much of the first 20 minutes by foul trouble. We'll see if they can match the efforts of Bradley and Rondo in the second half. Time now to tell you about the fact that UK is letting everybody in the Commonwealth know just what it will take for the university to become a top 20 public research university. Carl Nathy brings us more on UK's top 20 business plan in tonight's edition of the Alltel DSL High Speed Connection UK in the News Report.
You might say we're getting down to business. An ambitious top 20 business plan was unveiled recently by University of Kentucky President Lee Todd. UK is the first public university in the nation to create a detailed, long-term strategic plan for moving into the top 20 among public research institutions.
I think it's the only way that I can foresee that we can talk seriously about having a growth path to take us from where we are now to where we need to be in 2020. So I'm very excited about it.
President Todd said telling the state how much is needed and what the return will be on that investment is UK's responsibility.
So we wanted to measure 4 things. The quality of our undergraduate program, because that's our lodestone. That's what's most important for us to keep right. The quality of our graduate program, because those are the people that generate your next companies and do your highest level of intellectual property development. The quality of our faculty, because that's what really drives this institution. And then finally, our research dollars.
Under the plan, UK will, over the next 14 years, increase enrollment, increase the number of faculty by 625, increase the graduation rate, increase research expenditures, increase engagement and service efforts throughout the state to improve agriculture, healthcare, economic development, and communities. For more on the Top 20 business plan for the University of Kentucky, you can log on to uky.edu/top20. I'm Carl Nathy with UK in the News.
It's Kentucky by 7, halftime in Rupp Arena. Back with more after these words from your local station. The Wildcats lead it by 7 over Central Florida. Back with a look at the second half, first half stats, and take a look at second half action after this word from your local station. Ramel Bradley keeping the Wildcats alive long enough for everybody to get back in the ball game. Take a look at some of the numbers. The Wildcats, of course, hitting dreadfully in the first few minutes of the game, 0 for 6, but they came back and blistered the nets late in the half. You see, though, Central Florida with the big edge in rebounds, but the Cats have forced 9 turnovers to taking care of the ball pretty well themselves. Back with second half action after these words from your local station.
Better prices. By the Whitaker Bank Corporation. Discover the Whitaker difference. By Purnell's Old Folks Country Sausage, because it's good. And by Pepsi, the joy of cola.
The second half here in Rupp Arena getting set to get underway, and I'll tell you what, Tubby Smith is not going with the same starting 5 that started this basketball game. Yeah, you can bet Ramel Bradley's out there, and so is Jared Carter.
Yeah, he liked what he saw on both ends of the floor by Ramel.
Here's a steal by Rondo to start the second half, and an easy 2. And Rondo's now got 7. And Wildcats extended out now to a 9-point lead, and I believe that's their biggest of the night, 35-26. Peppers and Bradley leading scorers in this game in the first half. Remember now, Ramel Bradley had a career high Friday night. That was 18 as Peppers give him 3 more. He's now got 13. His third 3 of the game. Bradley at the other end couldn't answer, and there's Peppers to pull down the rebound for the Knights.
Well, Bradley shot that one a little quick out of half-court offense, and I'm going to tell you something. You've got to make Julius Peppers put the ball on the floor.
Stripped away by Rondo.
Just like that.
Got a couple of steals here in the first minute of the half, and another 2 for Rajon Rondo. He's now got 9.
Rob, you just don't feel like when he makes his mind up to go to the hole, there's anybody that can really stop him from getting there.
Peppers comes out to Lavelle Payne. Payne picked up those 3 fouls in the first half and then had to take a seat. He scored just 2 points. O'Donnell dishing it in here to Williams. He finds the 7-footer Carter in front of him. Tried to put it up over Carter, missed badly. Here he goes again, and Carter got that one from behind, and they're going to get the freshman with a foul.
Well, Carter did a good job right there of staying with his hands up, but he forgot the block out. And a lot of times it's not so much blocking out, this is going to sound crazy, as blocking in. When your man's got you, then you got to push him out of bounds, and Jared just got pushed around in that sequence.
Foul on Carter is his second, and Williams has got the free throw. His first opportunity at the line tonight, and he's got 3 points as Bobby Perry checks in, and Sheree Thomas goes to the Kentucky bench. Williams, senior out of Omaha, Nebraska. Made 1 of 2. The rebound, though, taken away by Peppers. So the Knights have still got it. Here's Payne maneuvering. Off in the lane, stolen by Bradley. Third steal of the half for the Wildcats.
Good decision right there by Ramel Bradley. Didn't have the numbers, pulled it back out.
Crawford had it tipped away by Peppers, out of bounds. It'll still belong to the Wildcats.
You know, Josh Peppers, this is a young man that in high school put up some big numbers. 28 points, 10 rebounds at Whitehaven High School out of Memphis. And
he had a good game against Western Kentucky out there in Tempe, Arizona. Scored 18 points. 4 of 7 with the 3-pointer against the Hilltoppers in a game that Central Florida lost.
Well, and that was a game, Rob, that they were up 11 at half.
Carter looking for help, and it's stolen away.
Well, Jared's going to get the turnover, but I'm going to tell you something. That's not all his fault. Nobody came to help him or meet the pass. You had 4 other Wildcats just standing and watching the play.
Payne driving on Bradley. Gives off here, and they swing it to Peppers on the near side. Off the mark. And a couple of Cats fighting for it, and Rose comes away with a rebound and gets an easy deuce out of it. So that was a break there for the Knights.
Well, you hate that you lost the rebound, but you like the aggression by Rondo and Bobby Perry.
And Rondo is fouled by he comes into front court here, and it goes on O'Donnell. That'll be his third. Both teams now with a team foul here in this second half, as we've got a long ways to go. 17 minutes and 16 seconds. Kentucky leading Central Florida by 5. Bobby Perry, a move into the lane off the board, and Gill comes away with a rebound. Bobby just not quite able to finish it.
You've either got to finish that or get to the foul line, one of the two.
Outside, here's O'Donnell. And Carter comes up with a block on Payne, and the Wildcats the other way. Bradley. And he was looking, I think, for Rondo to dish it back to, but Rajan just was not there.
Well,
Cats turn it over, and it goes over to Central Florida as Raquelin Sims checks back in.
Rob, once you get that far in the lane, you see a great block shot. Great job by Jared Carter right here. He uses those long arms. And once Ramel gets that deep into the lane, he's got to go on to the basket and try to finish.
Carter out, and Raquelin Sims into the lineup for Tubby Smith. And Central Florida trying to cut into this 5-point lead. It was 7 at halftime, 33-26. Payne comes back out with it. This is Rose. Way off the mark, and the rebound right into the hands of Joe Crawford.
Let's see if Joe Crawford can do defensively tonight what Rondo did against Michael Green for Ohio U. See if they can shut down Josh Peppers in the second half.
Peppers right now with 13 points. He had 10 at halftime as Crawford goes to the lane, and a short jumper for Bobby Perry is good. Perry with 5 now. He had a 3-pointer in the first half. Our attendance here tonight, a little more better than 21,000. 21,329. That's the total in Rupp Arena. Rose on the near side. Out it comes to Peppers, and now O'Donnell with it. Inside Williams, got it off the board. Nice move there by Anthony Williams as he turned quickly and put it off the glass. Give him 5 on the night, and Bobby Perry answering right back at the other end. Perry now is 7 in the game, and the Wildcats maintain a 7-point lead at 41-34 as we hit the 15-minute mark. Inside it goes to Williams. He got good position, but he traveled right down to the baseline. So charge Central Florida with another turnover. We've got a timeout on the floor with 14:49 to go. And the Cats up by 7, 41-34. Make plans to attend the blast. It is Saturday, January 21st, right after the Kentucky-South Carolina game. Head over to the Hyatt Regency for food, entertainment, and fun. A chance to meet Coach Tubby Smith. Tickets can be purchased at the UK Basketball Museum or any Central Bank location. Proceeds benefit the Tubby Smith Foundation and the Kentucky Children's Hospital at UK. And that is always a lot of fun, and Tubby and Donna Smith do so very much for Lexington and the surrounding area, Central Kentucky.
Yeah, they really do, and Donna especially is, there you see her looking at her phone. I guarantee you what she's doing right now. She's checking Brian's score, her son who plays down at Ole Miss.
And that is my sister-in-law there sitting next to her, who's a good friend, my sister-in-law Terry. Getting a chance to enjoy this game as Joe Crawford drives and hits. A running one-hander by Joe Crawford. His first basket of the second half. He's got 4 in the game.
Joe is so physically strong. When he gets in the lane like that, he can take the contact and still finish.
points off turnovers, and you can see that the Wildcats have capitalized. O'Donnell driving on Rondo. Nice pass to Gill. They dish it out to Taylor for a three that won't go, and Bobby Perry pulls it off. Here's Crawford. Can't find it from long range, and Raytaylon Sims has it swiped away by O'Donnell. Here's Peppers. And Perry another rebound. Up it comes to Crawford. Bradley's got a layup.
Great recognition right there by Joe Crawford on the break. And if you're Central Florida and Kirk Spurrier, I was just getting ready to say, as he calls the timeout, you got to avoid the big run by Kentucky.
As the Wildcats on the layup by Ramel Bradley break open an 11-point lead. 13:33 left to go. Stay with us as Kentucky's on top of Central Florida, 45-34. It's time for the Kentucky Utilities power play of the game. And it's Rajon Rondo who triggers it here, Martin.
Well, nobody in the country better at leading a fast break than Rondo. Here you see him pushing the ball hard. Nice bounce pass to Joe Crawford. And who says there's no contact in basketball? Good hard finish right there by the sophomore from Detroit, Joe Crawford.
Our Kentucky Utilities power play of the game. Yeah, that was back in the first half. Where was the foul then?
Well, that's what I said. It was either a block or a charge. And, you know, the interesting thing about the first half, Rob, we talked about it a little bit, but how the starters were so ineffective. If you take Rondo out of the mix, in the first half, the starters only had 6 points and 4 rebounds. The reserves, 23 points and 7 rebounds.
Wow, is that right? Yeah. Right now an 11-point Kentucky lead at 45-34, and on the drive all the way goes Rose. It wouldn't go down, but he drew the foul.
Yeah, they're going to get Bobby Perry, it looks like, on the foul. And I tell you, hats off to Kirk Spurrier tonight. He has done a great job of controlling tempo. There you see the high screen. Bobby doesn't step out and push the player and hedge him out farther and then picks up the fall, but he's really done a good job of keeping the Cats from making big runouts.
Now Rose misses the free throw as Bobby Perry picks up his first foul. Rose averaging 11.8. He has just 4 as you look at Kirk Spurrier. I believe he played as a player back in the 1970s, University of Iowa. Well, Rose missed them both. He was there between 75 and 79. And Rondo can't get the layup to go, and it's Lindbeck pulling off the rebound.
Yeah, Kirk was a good player, and then he also worked for Lon Kruger at the University of Florida for several years before taking the Central Florida job. He's one of those transplant Floridians.
Yeah, was with Kruger from 90 to 93. And that was the stretch there where they played in the Final Four, I believe.
Yeah, they were very good. Had those good guards, Cross, and what was the other kid's name? I can't remember, but boy, were they tough guards.
And I don't know where that pass was going, but it sails out of bounds. And as you see the frustration shown by Kirk Spurrier, who has taken 4 teams into the NCAA tournament. And as Dick pointed out right at the start, they came to Rupp Arena here back in 1994, I believe it was. They've made 2 consecutive trips to the NCAA. And have had 3 consecutive 20-win seasons, although this year would certainly appear to be somewhat of a rebuilding year as we get a 30-second timeout here called by Tubby Smith, and he looks like he's upset.
Well, here comes the stare, and I'm going to tell you what, when he brings the stare on, watch out. But, you know, talking about Kirk, they're making a big jump. They went from the A10 conference last year, the Atlantic 10, to the Conference USA, and surprisingly enough, we're picked 5th in that league preseason, so that tells you how much respect other coaches in that league have for him, and that's a huge jump in conference.
Speaking of Central Florida, if you may not be familiar with it, it's located down in Orlando and is not really an old school, founded in 1963, but I'll tell you, it is big. 44,000 is the enrollment. And they won 24 games, went 24-9 down there last year. And of course, Conference USA, Martin, will have a whole different look to it. What with teams like Rice and SMU coming in, and no question about it, Memphis is the big dog in that league.
Well, they're the cream of the crop. You lose Cincinnati, you lose Marquette, they go to the Big East, and you have to take on the likes of Memphis is really the only power school. UAB has moved up in the ranks there. Not the same conference it was a year ago. But our good buddy Joe Dean, who a lot of Cat fans know, Joe Dean Jr. was actually the head coach of Central Florida in their early progress of going to Division I.
Yeah, that was back in the late 1980s, I believe it was.
Yep, did a wonderful job there.
12 minutes to go in this one, and the Wildcats up by 11. As it comes back out here to Payne, they've got 8 seconds on the shot clock. Payne gives it to Williams down inside. He missed it. Put it right back up and in. He got the rebound on the other side of the basket and scored. Give him 7 on the night.
Now that was a big possession right there. They need to keep this thing within single digits so that they've got a chance late in the game to make some plays. And if you look at comparisons, now this is a team that played Florida in Gainesville. Florida beat them 80-47, so not the same kind of blowout.
Well, Bobby Perry saved that ball and threw it away right into the hands of Lindbeck.
The Cats did a good job of only having 3 turnovers in the first half, and you see 3 already here in the second half. Or excuse me, 4 already here in the second half.
9-point Kentucky lead. Rose misses everything, and it's picked up by Rondo. No-look pass, Crawford. Misses from the far side, and we get a foul called here down under the basket. Somebody pushed off in there. And it goes on Joe Crawford. Out on the court with 10:55 to go. Sheree Thomas called for the foul. And we'll be right back with Kentucky leading 45-36. It's time now to announce the Kentucky Farm Bureau all-around coverage defensive play of the game. And again, it's turned in by Rajon Rondo.
Well, look at the quick hands right there. There you see him slap down on the ball. And he's going to go the distance here. Rajon Rondo, the quickness. He gets the layup right here. Maybe the foul. Watch the little grin on his face afterwards. That's our guy, Rajon Rondo.
The Kentucky Farm Bureau all-around coverage defensive play of the game. And the young one here has just fallen asleep. Maybe not just, maybe it was a little while ago. Part of this big crowd of 21,329 in the house that Rupp built in downtown Lexington. We've still got 10:53 remaining, and Kentucky leading by 9. The lead was 7 at halftime. Fast break points as the Cats have totaled 10 here tonight.
First action we've seen of Patrick Sparks, if I'm not mistaken, here in the second half.
It is Sparks along with Robbie Moss. Jared Carter's in there. Bobby Perry and Ramel Bradley. 7 seconds on the shot clock. They come to O'Donnell. Sparks knocks it away into the hands of Perry. Kentucky comes up with a steal as Sparks goes to the lane, looks for somebody to help him, can't find anybody. And outside it comes to Bradley. Bradley's shot won't go down, and there's Peppers to rebound.
And as hot as he was in the first half, he's definitely cooled down here in the second half.
And Robbie Moss going for the steal, and he can't believe he's got called for the foul here.
That was one of those fouls that it looked like a foul, and I think Robbie's right. He got all ball, but he came down on top of the ball, and normally an official will call on looks.
That's number 1 on Moss. 4 team fouls on the Cats now. And Central Florida has but 1 here in the first 10-plus minutes of this second half. Jumper by Williams, got it. Anthony Williams, who had 2 at halftime, and he has heated up in this second half. He's now got 9 in the game, so 7 of those points have come in here in the first 10 minutes of the half. Loud for Bobby Perry from Sparks, and the pass was right on the money.
Well, that was a nice set play right there. Good job by Patrick Sparks keeping the ball above his head. Didn't throw it to the player, threw it to the rims, but I'm going to tell you what, Central Florida is hanging around, Rob.
Nice dish off to Williams, but he missed the shot. Rose rebound. And Carter trying to get the rebound, and they've called a foul here on Central Florida, and I think they're going to get it on Anthony Williams. That'll be number 3 on Anthony Williams, the senior out of Omaha.
Now this is good set offense right here. High screen and roll. Bobby sets the screen. He goes for the lob. Nice pass and a little kiss off the glass right there. Here's another angle on it. But just a great pass right there. Not to throw it to the player, but to throw it to the basket.
Here's Sparks again trying to do it from the opposite side. And this one's stolen away. Lindbeck got the long 3 out of the corner. For Troy Lindbeck, his first points of the night. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He came in averaging 5.5 a game. And that pulls Central Florida back to within 6. It has been all nights on the boards as Perry misses inside. Here's Carter with the rebound, and he's fouled going back up with it.
I got to tell you, that is a statistic that just blows me away, that they're out rebounding the Cats, the much taller Cats, by 9 rebounds. This is a Central Florida team that only has a +1 rebounding differential, so that's a huge advantage for Kirk Spiro. They've come in here and done exactly what he wanted to do, be physical and get to the glass.
Carter with the free throw. First point of the night for Jared Carter as Rajon Rondo returns, and Ramel Bradley had that red-hot first half, gets a hand as he goes to the bench. Carter gets the kick, and he's got 2 points in the game, and Kentucky's now got an 8-point lead. Williams out top, and nice pass to Rose, and he goes in for the slam. Justin Rose now is 6 in the game. And the Knights pull back to within 6 at 49-43.
Well, Kirk Spiro says, Tubby, you can make a nice call on an offensive play. I'm going to make one too. And great backdoor. He saw the overplay and did a good job of making the feed.
Sparks can't find the range. The rebound tipped out to O'Donnell. He hustles into front court. Here's Lindbeck, who hit that 3 a moment ago, and he's got another one. Troy Lindbeck suddenly with a couple of threes here, and timeout called on the floor with 7:57 remaining, and Central Florida has pulled back to within 3. Well, Martin, we've got a ball game here. A little under 8 minutes left to go, and Central Florida right back in it. Will break away here. Timeout on the floor. Kentucky leading Central Florida 49-46. You can purchase a copy of the 2-hour documentary on former coach Adolph Rupp by going to UKathletics.com. Adolph Rupp, myth, legend, and fact. Extensively researched, narrated, and produced by the Big Blue Sports Network's Dick Gabriel. Once again, log on to UKathletics.com to purchase your copy. And here in Rupp Arena with 7:57 on the clock, Tubby Smith and his team have got a fight on their hands as a couple of three-pointers by Troy Lindbeck here over the last minute or so has pulled Central Florida back to within 3. Lindbeck came in here tonight with 99 three-pointers on the year. Now he's got 101, and he's got Kirk Spiro and his team right back into this basketball game.
Well, they really are, and I tell you what, Kentucky has had a hard time so far sustaining the defensive effort. Silly turnovers on offense, but I still think it goes back to sustaining that defensive effort for 40 minutes.
Rondo drives, and the pass goes astray. Was trying to get it to Bobby Perry.
And I'm looking at Tubby Smith right now, and he doesn't know what to say.
9 turnovers now here in the game, and most of those here in this second half. 6 of them in the second half. O'Donnell guarded by Sparks, and here comes Lindbeck, who's had a hot hand here, hitting those 2 threes. Rose driving on Rondo, spinning, had it knocked away, and they're going to call the foul. Here goes on Rajon Rondo, his first.
Now, the interesting thing about this little run here by Central Florida is they've done it with Josh Perry sitting on the bench. He's only got 1 basket in the second half. Kentucky did a great job of coming out and defending him. However, other guys for Kirk Spiro's team have stepped up. This young man, Rose, being one of them.
Rose hits the free throw. He's only a 54% free throw shooter, and he missed his first 2 here tonight. Going for his 8th point, he's got it. So he makes them both this trip, and we've got a 1-point game. 49-48.
Sorry, Robert, the scouting report on him was keep him off the glass. He's averaging 5.8. He's already got 8 for this game, so obviously the Cats not paying attention to the scouting report.
Well, Joe Crawford trying to go down the lane and score, couldn't do it. And here comes Central Florida now with a chance to take the lead as we approach the 7-minute mark here in Rupp Arena. Rose. Rondo. Rose firing and hitting, and Central Florida shoots its way into a 1-point lead at 50-49 with 6:49 to go.
Tubby wants a timeout. Good timeout right here. Get the focus back on him.
Justin Rose now with 10 points. He's got 8 of them here in the second half. And Central Florida has pulled from behind here in the last 3 to 4 minutes to lead it by 1, 50-49. UK basketball games now feature the anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield Cat Crazies wearing official Nike apparel. Cat fans can find the same Nike apparel at their local retailers. Well, no question, Tubby Smith and the Wildcats needed a timeout to kind of regroup here for the final 6:47 in this one, as Central Florida has put on a run and has now moved in front by 1, 50-49.
Well, this team's got to learn. Teams aren't going to just roll over and play dead. They're going to come in here and they're going to compete. And this Central Florida team is doing just that. Now, this is a team that believes right now that they can win the basketball game with only 6:44. The biggest difference to me in the first half and the second half, Kentucky had 9 assists in the first half, only 3 for the second half. Much more selfish on the defensive end.
Bobby Moss can't connect, and Ramel Bradley going in for the rebound, and we're going to get a foul here called on Central Florida down at the baseline. And that is going to go on O'Donnell. That'll be his 4th. 4 fouls now on Mike O'Donnell.
Let's see if we can pick up where the foul was right there. There's a little bit of a hole.
As he tries to deny Ramel Bradley the ball as he went after the rebound. So O'Donnell now has 4 team fouls on Central Florida. O'Donnell comes out. Going to get Dave Noel back into the lineup. Well, the Cats came up with big plays against Ohio Friday night up at U.S. Bank Arena in Cincinnati, and Martin, they need to come up with some here. The ball in Rajon Rondo's hands as the Cats have just 1 field goal here in the last 7 minutes. Thomas backs into the lane. Turnaround jumper won't go. Payne goes for the rebound. It's hauled down by Justin Rose. Central Florida by 1 and with the ball now.
Well, there's where you really need and miss the presence of Randolph Morris, that inside scoring threat.
Rose driving inside, and they'll get him with a foul.
Well, great job right there by Raquelin Sims. He stepped in and picked up the charge, and timely charge. There you see good help on the baseline. Rose goes up strong. He's a 6'3", 195 pounds, and nice job by Sims. He struggled on the offensive end of the court tonight, but defensively did a good job right there.
Foul is the second on Rose, and that is the 13th charge that Raquelin Sims has taken, and Rondo sees an opening and goes in for the layup. And Kentucky goes back in front by 1, 51-50.
Well, you don't think those 4 fouls with McDonald hurt. Now, that was Noel right there that failed to rotate on the baseline to pick up the charge. He came in and replaced McDonald with the 4 fouls.
Yeah, we're going to get a foul here called on Raquelin Sims, I think, away from the play. That'll be number 3 on the junior out of Vallejo, California. And the Cats now with 16 fouls.
Well, and Kirk Sparrow, the good news is he's got Josh Peppers back in the game, and he's had a long rest, so he's going to have fresh legs going down the stretch.
And Noel can't get it in, and they call him for a 5-second violation. He could not get the timeout.
I'm going to tell you something. Tubby Smith, I watched their shoot-around today, and every day in shoot-around before games, they spend a lot of time working on the opponents out of bounds underneath. And the reason they do that, it's the one time that the defense is flattened on the baseline, and that's as an offensive coach, that's what you want, is to have your defense flat. So they spend a lot of time. Good job right there by the Cats.
Bradley. It rims the basket. And Sheree Thomas, a strong rebound. He gets it out to Rondo. And they call Rondo for the foul as he goes into the lane. Tubby Smith disagrees, but Rajon Rondo picks up his second.
Well, Tubby disagrees and the fans do. Let's see if we had position right here. Tubby felt like he was pushed. There might have been a foul right there in Sheree. And here he comes. That was one of those close ones right there. Whether he had his feet set or not, awfully hard to get a charge on Rajon Rondo.
1 point lead for the Wildcats with 5 minutes to go in the game, and Central Florida with the ball. Peppers down the lane and it goes. Nice drive by Josh Peppers. Give him now 15 in the game.
Well, Kirk Spearhoff's gone small. He's gone with Josh Peppers, who's normally a combo 2-3 guard. Down at the 4 spot, that's a tough matchup for Sheree Thomas.
Central Florida back up by 1, and as Ramel Bradley drives, he draws the foul, and this one I think will go on Troy Lindbeck. On Lindbeck, his second. And it'll be the 7th team foul here on Central Florida. Crawford took the inbounds pass, went right down the baseline and scores. 6 in the game now for Crawford. He has 4 of them here in the second half, and the Cats go back up by 1, 53-52.
Well, Joe is slowly becoming the go-to guy. You can see when they need points, he has the confidence to take it to the rim.
And this crowd here in Rupp Arena urging on the Wildcat defense as the shot clock gets down to 12. Peppers with it outside, guarded by Thomas. Peppers lost the handle. Thomas able to get it down to the baseline, and they say it was on the baseline. It's Central Florida ball. Only 6 seconds on the shot clock. Time out on the court with 3:58 to go, and Kentucky clinging to a 1-point lead. 53-52 over Central Florida. And it's time now for the SNS Tire UK Player of the Game. Kind of a tough choice between Ramel Bradley, Rajon Rondo. We're going to give it to Ramel Bradley.
Well, it really was. But he needs to give Rondo half of it because Rondo got him the assist to get most of those 16 points.
Yeah, 14 of them in the first half, and SNS Tire will donate $250 in the name of Ramel Bradley to the Kentucky Special Olympics. Now, who knows? Our player of the game could still be determined here in the last 3:58, but Ramel's had a good night. He's only 2 off that career high that he had against the Ohio Bobcats Friday night in Cincinnati. But look at this, Kentucky by 1, 53-52.
Now look at the shot clock. There's only 6 seconds on the shot clock.
And
they're not going to get a shot.
They don't realize it. Rowe's going to have to hustle. He barely got it up. Now they say it's a shot clock violation.
You know, 6 seconds is longer than you think, but Peppers took too long having the ball in his hand, and that's 18 turnovers now for the Knights. But you never thought Kentucky would be in this situation in this game where they got to start looking at, all right, if it gets close, who do we foul for Central Florida? This is not a good foul shooting team, only 59% for Central Florida.
Rondo takes the handoff there, tried to dish it back, and he recovers the ball down in the corner. Here's Crawford. Bradley now out top with 10 on the shot clock. Yeah, Bradley's going to have to make something happen here. He drives. And the rebound is pulled down by Williams. So Central Florida down by 1 with 3:10 to go. And here come the Knights into the front court. O'Donnell back in the game now with those 4 fouls.
Watch this matchup right here. Peppers and Kalen Sims.
And again now the shot clock goes down to 9. Sims right on Peppers, and they call him for the foul. Kalen Sims able to take another charge, He took one just a few minutes ago. That is the 14th charge now on the season that Raquelin Sims has been able to take.
But you want to know why Tubby Smith is so respected as a coach? He made an adjustment in that timeout and switched Sheree Thomas, who was guarding Peppers, who's not as quick as Peppers, and put Raquelin Sims on him, who's a little bit quicker. Great decision by Tubby Smith and his staff.
2.5 minutes to go, and Kentucky still by 1. As Joe Crawford drives into the lane, around and out, tip wouldn't go down, battle for the rebound, and putting it back up and in is Sims. And Raquelin Sims gets his first 2 of the night. He had a couple of big baskets down the stretch against Ohio Friday, and he comes up with a big one right here.
That was a huge rebound. That was just effort. That's all that was. He just wanted it more than anybody else on the floor, and Kirk Spurall's going to get a timeout. He knows this is a huge possession.
Wildcats by 3, following the putback by Raquelin Sims. Timeout, 1:59 remaining. We'll break away and stay with us. Kentucky leads it 55-52. Rob Bromley along with Martin Newton back at Rupp Arena in Lexington as you look at the big fella Randolph Morris, who will be eligible 1 week from tonight here in Rupp as the Wildcats open SEC play against the Vanderbilt Commodores. But that is still a week away. The business at hand here is a 3-point Kentucky lead over Central Florida with only 1:55 remaining.
You don't have to have the 3 here for Central Florida. You got to get an easy basket. Best basket you can get. They're going to isolate Rose.
And O'Donnell will take it. It rims out. Rose has got the rebound with 1:41 to go. Well, the Knights get a fresh 35 on the shot clock, and they get another crack, trailing here by 3. And many now in this Rupp Arena crowd coming to their feet.
Got to keep a body on Rose. You got to keep him off the offensive glass.
Pepper spins and shoots off the mark. Tipped in
by Rose.
Tipped in by Justice Rose.
We just said you got to keep a body on him and keep him off the glass. That's his 10th rebound. That's what he loves to do.
He's got 12 in the game, 10 of them here in the second half. So we approach 1 minute, and Kentucky's lead now is cut to 1.
1 minute left in the game.
Rondo fakes and drives. Tip wouldn't go down. Ball tipped out. Crawford fighting for it, and he's fouled. And no question that Lindbeck fouled Crawford. He doesn't like the call, and I didn't think there was any doubt about it. Third foul on Troy Lindbeck.
Yeah, this is great hustle once again. Rajon may have got away with a walk. Sheree goes up for it. Now watch for Kalen. Good idea to tip it back. He didn't think he fouled him, but that was pretty physical. You don't see that call, though, Rob, by officials late in the game. They let the players decide. And 2 big free throws here by Joe Crawford.
Yes, 8 team fouls now on the Knights as Crawford fires and hits the first one. 7 in the game now for Crawford. 5 of them here in the second half. This is his first trip to the line. He's a 73% free throw shooter.
Boy, how quiet.
Rupp Arena falls silent. You took the words right out of my mouth. And Joe Crawford makes them both. 2 big free throws. And again, the Wildcats go up by 3, 57-54 with 51.4 on the clock. And the timeouts will give us a chance to break away, so we know you'll stay with us. Kentucky by 3, 57-54. We'll be right back. Kentucky and Central Florida going right down to the wire here in Rupp Arena. 51.4 seconds on the clock. It's a 3-point Wildcat lead. Central Florida brings it up. So, Martin, what's the strategy here? They really don't need a 3-pointer.
No, I think you've got to get something going to the basket and make sure that Rose can get to the boards again. That's where their offense will come late in the game. But you can't have Rose this far out on the court.
Now we got a timeout called by Kirk Sparrow over on the Central Florida bench.
Well, and that's their final timeout, so this goes to a full.
And we're down to 36 seconds on the game clock and 20 seconds on the shot clock. We will break away for our final timeout here. 36 seconds to go. Stay with us. Kentucky 57, Central Florida 54. We are back for the final 36 seconds of what has developed into an exciting game here in Rupp Arena. Central Florida now with 15 seconds on the shot clock, trailing Kentucky by 3 as the Knights go to work. O'Donnell will fire. He got it, and he tied the game with a three-pointer. Second three of the night for Mike O'Donnell. As sophomore out of Largo, Florida. Cats get it into front court, and they call timeout with 19 and a half seconds left.
Wow.
Tied at 57. Mike O'Donnell's second three of the night. He had one back in the first half. He's a 32% three-point shooter, and that was a big one to tie this game, Martin, at 57.
Well, that was a great set play coming out of the timeout. I thought Kentucky should have gone on and really pressured the out-of-bounds play because it's the only time the defense outnumbers the offense, and Central Florida had no timeouts left. Try to get a 5-second call. When they didn't, they allowed Central Florida to get back into a set, and boy, they ran a beautiful one for Mike O'Donnell.
Wildcat fans with broadband internet access are enjoying tonight's broadcast over the internet on Extreme Access at UKathletics.com. Subscribers enjoy the Tubby Smith and Mickey DeMoss shows, press conferences, and selected games. Just log on to UKathletics.com to find out more about Extreme Access. Well, we are in store for an exciting finish here in Rupp tonight. And I thought we might have a chance to talk a little bit about Lawrence, Kansas and the Kansas Jayhawks Saturday afternoon out in Allen Fieldhouse, but you see the concern on the face of one Donna Smith as this one is going to the wire. Tied at 57, 19.5 on the clock.
Well, is there any doubt in anybody's mind in this building who's going to get the ball in their hand and what they're going to try to do? Rajon Rondo, in my opinion, will have it. They'll either go flat and let him penetrate, or they'll go the high screen and roll and look for him to penetrate and finish.
Well, the Cats look for a game-winning play right here as Rondo comes into front court. He's got 9 seconds. Rose right on it. Rondo spins around and fires. He got it.
Oh, my.
Rajon Rondo with 1.5 to go. And this crowd here in Rupp Arena explodes. Peppers triggers it in. It comes into Lindback. He fires. And the Wildcats have won it on a turnaround jumper by Rajon Rondo with 1.5 left. So the sophomore out of Louisville comes up with a huge play, and the Cats had to come up with a bunch of huge plays down the stretch up in Cincinnati Friday night. And Martin Newton, Rajon Rondo simply took it. He was inbound of the basketball, went into back court here, came into front court. I thought maybe he had waited a little bit too long. I guess he knew what he was doing. He went to the lane, he turned around, he spun, and he hit the shot, and he wins it for Kentucky 59-57.
You know, it was the same shot he made in the first half. That dribble penetration to the left, stopped, reversed. It was a fall-away jump shot. It was big time is all I can say, but you got to give your hats off to Central Florida. Now watch this right here. The time's running down. He's got 8 seconds. They don't want to go till there's about 7. They want the last shot. He's coming in. They clear it. Nice pivot, reverse. Oh, my goodness. How about that? A 14-foot fall-away jump shot to win it. And great players make great plays.
Well, no question about that. Another big night for Rajon Rondo. It was a big first half for Ramel Bradley. The Cats were behind most of the way in the first half. They got up by 7 at halftime. Then they built that lead in the second half, Martin. But give Central Florida a lot of credit because they came back in the final 10 minutes, tied this game up, actually had the lead, and it was a battle right to the finish.
Well, it really is. And now if you're Tubby Smith, you got to go back to the drawing board. A lot of stuff you got to work on going into the Southeastern Conference. Hats off to Central Florida. What a gritty performance on this home court of Kentucky's. Martin,
good to be with you. This is our final telecast. Good to be with Dick and everybody on our crew. Mike Kantorak, Tom Bickle, everyone else. Let's send it to Dick now to wrap things up.
All right, Rob, thanks very much. And what a way to go out on the Big Blue Sports Network. Quite an entertaining game as Kentucky opens up an 11-point lead early in the second half. But what a run by Central Florida, 16-4 to take the advantage. After that, 4 more lead changes before Rajon Rondo decides it with a comfy 1.5 seconds left to go in the ball game. An incredible finish for the Wildcats, who now move on to Kansas before opening Southeastern Conference play here next week. That'll do it from Lexington. For Rob Bromley and Martin Newton, Dick Averill saying thanks for joining us. Final score, Kentucky 59, Central Florida 57. That's it. Good night from Lexington.
University of Kentucky Wildcat Basketball was brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. Big on commitment. By Purnell's Old Folks Country Sauce, cause it's good. By Pepsi, the joy of cold. By the Whitaker Bank Corporation. Discover the Whitaker difference. By O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts at better prices. By KU, where low rates and high level of service combine to make KU a great energy value. And by your Kentuckiana Ford dealers. Ford, built for the road ahead.